Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. I hope you're having the most amazing day today so far. Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where in today's episode, you'll hear 3 outrageously entitled stories. The first story, a Karen calls the cops on OP for not mowing her lawn. The second, it's ridiculous. The second story is why you should never take advantage of somebody's kindness, and we'll finish off with a story where Karen tries to have OP evicted over her dog. Her dog was barking. All of these stories, guys, are super duper satisfying, and I hope you enjoy them. And do hit that subscribe button for future stories. My friends, let's dive in. So, to give some backstory, I'm a 19-year-old in community college, living in a small neighborhood in my parents' old, small house. I mow my own lawn, which is relatively small because there's no HOA and I can't hire anybody to do it for me. Also, the sun and exercise is great. 3 of my neighbors are either elderly, don't have the time, or don't own mowers of their own. So I mow their reasonably small lawns for free, at the same time I do mine. Let's just say I mow out of the goodness of my heart, and get compensated with a bottle of cold water, or some snacks afterward, by 2 out of 3. The third, however, is something else. Now, the third neighbor is a very stubborn, 40-something-year-old Karen who, 1, owns her own mower, 2, can afford to hire somebody to do it for her, 3, is very specific about how and when her lawn gets done, even though it's free. Now, reason 3 pisses me off the most, honestly because she does not let me use my own mower, or even fix her crappy one that runs like garbage. Seriously, it's like she's punishing me for volunteering to help her. Her mower is terrible. The blades are dull and she doesn't let me sharpen them. It's clogged full of old grass and she doesn't let me clean it. Yet every time I ask if I can tidy up, she snaps, "Quit wasting time and get the damn job done." Karen is mean, entitled, and she doesn't care that I do 4 lawns in one day. Even on days where I can't mow the lawn because I'm feeling under the weather, or I'm just too busy with school, she threatens to call the police on me and report me for running a business without a license. I'm pretty sure of 3 things. 1, you don't need a license to mow a lawn. 2, it's not a business since I don't ask for money or compensation. And 3, the police would probably laugh it off. I honestly should have stopped volunteering to mow her lawn a long time ago, but I just never had the heart, except for last week. Now, it's July, it's rainy and very hot, and on the morning I was scheduled to mow, it poured like hell. Now, those of you who mow lawns know that you can't, or rather, you shouldn't mow your lawn directly after it rains for various reasons, and my neighborhood is pretty shaded, so it takes at least a day to dry up. So around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm just relaxing and enjoying the free time when out of nowhere, there was a frantic smashing of a fist on my door. I would call it pounding, but honestly it wasn't. And lo and behold, it's Karen, looking as annoyed as ever. As soon as I crack my door, the yelling starts, and I'm almost blasted back as she tries to push my door open. I couldn't make out most of what she was saying, but I did hear the words lazy, brat, and millennial thrown in there. I'm pretty laid back and used to dealing with angry adults, so this doesn't irk me all that much, but when she pushed the door open and overpowered me, that started to piss me off. So this is how our conversation went. She said, "Why isn't my lawn mowed? I need it mowed right now." I told her, "Ma'am, it rained pretty heavily today and I don't give a rat's ass what the weather's like. I need my lawn mowed. I have company coming over soon." I told her, "Ma'am, I'm not gonna do your lawn. I didn't even mow mine today. Please stop harassing me." Now Karen, with her teeth clenched and her neck veins popping, said, "If you don't mow the lawn right goddamn now, I will call the police on you for an illegal business like I should have done a long time ago." Now, while I could have argued, which I don't like to do, I had thought of a better plan. I sighed and said, "All right, ma'am, may I at least use my mower?" Karen says, "Of course not. Use my mower. I want my lawn exactly the way I like it." So my plan was in action. So grabbing her mower and seeing her nice shiny car in the driveway, I started to mow. Now a little thing about Karen's mower is that her lawnmower discharges grass out the side. I started to mow the grass closest to her car on the driveway, taking aim directly at her car and pelting it with wet grass. I barely got about halfway through before the mower completely shut down due to clogging and the sheer dullness of the blade, but it all worked out. As soon as it shut off, I called it a day. So later that day, after a nice shower and meal, I heard the reaction, which was, to my amusement, the insane screaming and ranting about why the lawn was only half done and her car was caked in mud and grass. I only got in trouble with her, and of course, she literally calls the police to my house. They knocked on my door, and I explained that I tried to mow the grass to the best of my ability, and said that the grass was so wet, so that's the best I could do. So long story short, my neighbor tried to get me fined for destruction of property, which is ridiculous. They were pretty understanding and left me alone. They asked if I was gonna go back there to finish the job after it dried up, and I told them I would, and that was that. Karen never did ask me to mow her grass again. My friends, this is a prime example of somebody taking advantage of kindness. You give somebody an inch and they take a damn mile. OP is a much nicer person than I am. If that were me, as soon as she comes out and tries to tell me how to mow, when to mow, and what equipment to use, and also threatens me with police, I'm sorry, Karen. You've got to start doing it yourself after that. I really wonder what the police were thinking when they responded to her, and all she did was complain that the grass was half cut and there was mulch all over her car. So I used to wait tables at an upscale restaurant that was known to be the place to have your holiday or office parties. It's great money if you've got the right group. The menus were preset, the wine and liquor was preset, and the tip generally started at 18%. All of it was in the contract that the host signed pre-event. Usually the host would make themselves known fairly early on, so you would know who to talk to if there was an issue, and who to give the check to at the end of the night. So one night, I'm splitting a party of 30 to 40 with another server. The event had top-tier food and mid-level wine and booze. It was very nice. A small group of 5 to 6 people arrive a bit ahead of schedule. 2 guys and 3 to 4 women. Not a problem. It's actually nicer if they slowly roll in so we can get drinks started. I walk over, introduce myself and the other waiter, and ask for drinks. Now, this was back in the early 2000s and chads were not a thing yet, but the 2 guys were the chattiest chads. If they could have popped their collars in their suits, I'm pretty sure they would have found a way. So, Super Chad 1 says, me and my bro are gonna start with a round of Johnny Walker Blue, and these ladies are gonna have some expensive wine. Super Chad 2, turning to the girl, said, once you have Johnny Blue, you just can't drink anything else. It changes you, bro. I told them, if you like, I can put those on a separate tab. The event contract has Johnny Walker Black, not Blue, and the red wine selection for tonight is less expensive wine. Super Chad 1 says, this is our party. Just get me what I ordered and don't question me again. Super Chad 2 says, who do you think you are? You're just some waiter. We have MBAs. Just get us the drinks. So I walk over to the other waiter and tell him that we're in for a hell of a night, but the check should be nice. Now, for those that don't know, Johnny Walker Blue is an expensive whiskey and is 3 to 4 times the cost of Johnny Black. So one round of drinks for these people is over $100. So the whole night goes exactly as we thought. The 2 chads were constantly complaining. Nothing was good enough. The appetizers were crap. The food was horrible, there was not enough bread, too many bread plates, and drinks were taking too long. To make it worse, chads and company are all over the place, moving seats and making others move so they can talk to who they want. This makes serving hell, because we did everything by seat number. Surprisingly, most of the table was normal. They were not entitled people, and knew that waiters are people too. They were impressed by the food and graciously ordered the drinks that were in the contract. So one older man at the end of the table from the chads apologized for their behavior, saying that they might have fancy degrees and good jobs, but you can't teach class. I gotta love that guy. Finally, the night is winding down, and after drinking a full bottle of Johnny Blue, along with the other food and drinks, they have a very hefty check. The waiter and I are excited to get paid. So we start picking up dessert plates and asking anybody if they need coffee or anything else. The nice older guy at the end of the table says to bring him the check. Not wanting any more interaction with the chads than necessary, I bring it to him. I tell him I can take care of it whenever, and go ahead clearing the table. A few minutes later, he calls me over and says, hey, maybe there was a mistake in ringing up the drinks. There is almost $600 for Johnny Blue, when the contract I signed for only included Johnny Black, and there are some single glasses of wine that are different from what we agreed upon. I told him, that's no mistake, sir. That's what was ordered and drank. Now, he's being awesome, and I feel bad, and he says, why did you give the drinks to them when we clearly had a contract? I replied, I apologize, sir, but they told me that this was their party, and since I was just a waiter, I had to shut up and do what I was told. So I did. I'm sorry I took them at their word. I point them out, and he calls them over. What follows was the single greatest chewing that I've ever been witness to. He goes on about how he was doing something nice, but apparently that wasn't enough. About how horrible their behavior was that night, and how he's ashamed for them. But my favorite line was how you can see a person's true colors in how they treat others, and they had shown theirs. He then calls me back over, and he says, apparently, I thought this was my party. I guess I was wrong. This is their party, and they will be taking care of the whole check. Oh, and up the gratuity to 25%. You earned it. He turns around and walks off, leaving the chads with the check. All in all, it was about $3,500. I've never seen 2 grown men look so defeated. Yikes. Guys, that was quite the hefty check. $3,500 is the a-hole tax for being such entitled idiots all night. I can't even imagine the looks on their faces when they pretty much plan to go for an all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-drink night out and being stuck with the bill. Johnny Blue is some delicious whiskey though, my friends. I can tell you that. I do love what the man said though. They may have fancy degrees and good jobs, but you can't teach class. You're right, sir. You're absolutely right. So, years ago, my mother and I had just moved to a new dog-friendly apartment complex. We had 2 dogs. Because of them, we were excited for the community dog park right next to our building. Also to note, our building was filled with dog owners, each with dogs ranging from small to huge. Our apartment was on the first floor in the back of the building, all the way in the corner. It was a nice private area for us, with how the apartments were situated. Since one of our dogs is a terrier, he can be a bit barky when we're not home. Though when we are home, we do have a clicker to get his attention, which he has been trained to stop barking and to come to whoever has the clicker. Due to our work hours, I was usually home in the morning and my mom was home in the afternoon, leaving him alone for a few hours during the day. So after a month of moving into our new apartment, we received a note on our door. It was from one of our neighbors. It said, "Dear neighbor, I understand that you're new to the complex, but it's rude to allow your dog to bark. It's ruining my sleep before I go to work, and my job is extremely important. I don't care how you do it, but shut your dog up." So my mom turned the note in right away to the leasing office, as she wasn't sure what to do with it. That's when the office told us not to worry, because she had done this to every dog owner in the building. They did ask us to see if we can find ways to calm him down when we're not home. So we did. We found out the kids in the neighborhood liked playing with the power station outside of our apartment, and that's who he was barking at. So we closed off that area for him when we went out and nobody was home. We started playing calming music as a way to help as well. Another week goes by, and this time we hear a knock at the door. We go outside and we meet our angry neighbor. She explains that our dog has kept her up and has woken her up with hours of barking. Both of us had been home that day, and our dog had been pretty good and had not been excessively barking. I still remember what she told us when I explained that. She said, "I know what I heard. If you can't control your dog, I will call animal control and have them taken from you. I've done it before and have no problem getting rid of your dogs too. Then I'll get you kicked out for not following your lease. And I can do that because I'm very rich and the apartment needs my money. So go do something to shut your dogs up or else." So after that, and my mom apologizing for what had happened, we went back inside. A few moments later, I walked out to get the mail and discovered from another neighbor that she had gone to 3 other apartments and made similar threats. After some convincing, my mom told the apartment what happened. We were told not to worry, and if it happens again to please contact them. We also found out that the apartment had offered her another apartment away from the dogs, but she declined, since the dogs were the problem. However, after what happened, my mom began showing signs of anxiety, and bought a lemon spray bark collar for our dog. Now, while I did not like the idea, it had put her at ease to go outside of our apartment. We did make sure to only put it on him when we were both not home. A month went by peacefully, then once again we get a knock at the door. This time, it was animal control. They had gotten an anonymous report of a dog being neglected in our home. They had explained that somebody said that our dogs were barking because of neglect. My mom invited the person inside and explained the situation. We showed her everything we could to prevent our dogs from being taken away. The nice lady noticed how playful and happy our dogs were and figured it was just another false call. She explained that they had gotten a few of those from an anonymous concerned neighbor from other apartments in the building. So the lady leaves, telling us that if they threatened again to try to get it on record. The event had turned my mom into a paranoid person who became afraid to leave the house, thinking if she did, she would lose her pups. Normally, I'm the calm person in my family and never really letting anybody get to me, but this neighbor had done this to hurt us. So I did my research and discovered a few things that could legally help us. With the new information on certain laws and leasing terms, I formed a plan. During a weekend that my mom was visiting my aunt in a different state, I began my plan. It started by printing out a few things and then sat outside with my phone and a speaker. I began to play a video of a dog barking really loud. I had figured out which apartment was hers, thanks to a few neighbors who were also tired of being harassed. I sat there looking across the courtyard to where her apartment was. Now, I sat there and waited with a huge smile on my face, and as I hoped for, she comes storming out and heads over to where I was. I turned off my video and turned on my recorder without her noticing. Her face is red with anger as she looks at me sitting there with a smile, and I said, "I'm sorry, can I help you?" And she screams, "Are you stupid? I told you what I'll do to your family if you didn't stop your dumb mutts from disrupting my sleep." Now I'm gonna get them taken from you and get you evicted for not doing what I said. I gave you a chance. I hope when they take your dogs, they're put down and you and your mom live inside a cardboard box." I give her a fake "oh dear" look and say, "So you're saying that I'm not allowed to make loud noises, including my dogs barking between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 p.m., and that I went against the law by doing so?" She responds, "You know you did. And you're telling me this from my porch at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I don't care what time it is. I told you I need sleep because of my shift. This will not be your porch once I tell the leasing office." I said, "Oh no, that's a very serious threat for my dogs and my family, isn't it?" And she replies, "Listen, you punk. Yes, it is. You should have shut your damn dog up." I give her a huge smile and turn off my recorder from my phone. The neighbor is confused, and I ask her to have a seat, as I have a few things to show her. I pull out my papers and hand over the first one. It was the county's noise ordinance laws. So in our county, a dog's bark was considered the same amount of sound as a loud appliance, so they can bark between the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. Before she could talk, I pull out another paper. This one states that it's against the leasing terms to threaten another neighbor, and after one warning, the apartment complex had the right to revolt their lease. She looks at me with a stunned silence. I then pull out one last paper. This one was another leasing term I'd found. Now, this last one talked about how it was a complete violation of leasing terms to go on another renter's property and threaten them or their property. This includes the renter's outdoor area. Those found guilty of this violation will have their lease revoked immediately and be forced to leave the apartment within a set time. The scared look on her face was priceless as I silently got up and walked back into my apartment. After she finally left, I called my leasing office and explained what just happened and agreed to email the recording to them right away. A week later, my mom comes home with some news that she had learned from the leasing office. The woman had been evicted and would be leaving later that week. I do not regret what I did. I just feel bad that it had to come to this. So if you're living in an apartment that allows dogs, you should know that you're gonna hear barking. It's inevitable. The fact that this person was so entitled and felt the need to threaten OP and others because they wanted peace and quiet is absolutely ridiculous. Definitely deserved. You know why? Because she called animal control and tried to have those dogs taken away from them. And she's done it before, so she had to leave. Good riddance. And that, my beautiful friends, is another episode of r/EntitledPeople. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the stories today, and if you did, do hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, do subscribe for future stories. And if you guys missed the last episode of r/EntitledPeople, a lawyer says the words, "Do you know who I am?" and gets what he deserves. Guys, check it out if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you. I really do.